This is a satellite image of Beirut port in Lebanon, captured on July 31, 2020. But just 4 days later, something happened here that left the port in this condition. The hangars at the port look completely destroyed. There's also a huge crater about 135 meters wide, about the length of two Boeing 747 side by side. So, what exactly happened here that caused the biggest non-nuclear explosion in the world? Once again, welcome to Lofarwa TV's videos. On August 4th, 2020, a video clip went viral. Isra Sabalani was having a photo shoot at Saifi Square in Beirut when suddenly a massive blast wave forced everyone to run for cover. Just 23 minutes before this, at exactly 5:45, some welders were fixing a hole in the wall inside a hangar at Beirut port. Sparks from their work sparked a fire in the warehouse. This hangar, called number 12, was right next to the sea. 10 minutes later, at 5:55, a team of 9 firefighters and a paramedic arrived at the scene. After assessing the fire, they radioed in. The fire chief said something felt off. The fire was getting out of control, and strange noises were coming from it. They had only been there for 12 minutes when, at 6:07, a massive explosion went off. Videos of the blast show flashes of fireworks along with white smoke. There was a shipment of fireworks stored in spot number 12, which probably blew up because of the fire. But this was just the first explosion, with a force equivalent to a 1,500 kg TNT blast. People were still trying to figure out what that sound was. 30 seconds later, another explosion went off that seemed to tear Beirut apart. This second blast was caught on a lot of cameras because after the first explosion, many people were busy recording it. A huge fireball was seen rising into the sky, with a shockwave that traveled faster than the speed of sound. In the second blast, a white dome appeared, spreading over a large part of the city. This was actually water vapor created by the pressure of the shockwave. After that, a massive cloud of red smoke rose into the sky, experts say. The red smoke in the hangar is proof that ammonium nitrate was present. The blast was so intense that people in Cyprus, 200 kilometers away, were scared and came out of their homes. The shockwave shattered windows all the way to Beirut Airport Terminal, 8 kilometers away, and even bent the rods in nearby houses. To give you an idea, the explosion happened in Beirut, but the US Geological Survey recorded it as a 3.3 magnitude earthquake. Scientists from Sheffield University estimated that the blast was equivalent to 1.5 million kg of TNT. So, the blast was 1,000 times bigger than the first one, and about 10% of the nuclear bomb dropped on Hiroshima. All the hangars around where it happened were completely wiped out, like nothing was even there. The ships docked nearby were severely damaged too. There was this 5-star Orient Queen cruise ship about 390 feet long that got thrown into the air and then flipped over when it landed back in the water. The explosion left a 135-meter wide crater in the ground, which instantly filled up with seawater. The Beirut explosion is considered the biggest non-nuclear blast in the world, even. This blast messed up the ionosphere over Earth too. That's the last layer of atmosphere close to space, and because it got disturbed, GPS and radio signals were disrupted for a few seconds. The scene in Beirut was nothing short of an apocalypse. The city's streets looked completely destroyed. Entire buildings in northern Beirut were flattened. Uprooted trees, flipped cars, and twisted steel beams were scattered everywhere. The blast was so powerful it knocked out the entire city's electricity supply. It caused a big blockage in the rescue efforts. Military bulldozers were brought in to clear the roads so rescue workers could get through. In this disaster, 218 precious lives were lost, and more than 70 people were injured. As for the rest, 12% of Beirut's population was left homeless in the blink of an eye. Hospitals and medical centers where the injured were supposed to be treated were also hit by the blast and got destroyed. Many hospitals had to start treating patients in parking lots and on sidewalks. St. George Hospital, located near Beirut port. Just a few meters away, even after being completely destroyed, the patients kept getting treated on the broken sidewalks. But still, thousands of injured people had to be turned away simply because there wasn't enough space on the sidewalks anymore. It's believed that after the blast, people who lost their homes were taken in by those whose houses survived because they were farther from the port. The fire raged for 7 hours after the explosion, and thick black smoke hung over the sky well into the next day. The smell of sulfur and burnt rubber lingered in the air for several days. But just a few days later, protests erupted all over Lebanon. People took to the streets to protest the government's failure, and everyone had the same question: what was the real cause of this explosion? According to reports, hangar number 12 was being used to store dangerous chemicals like oil cans, kerosene, and hydrochloric acid, along with 15 tons of firewax. In other words, it was a disaster waiting to happen. Despite all these highly flammable materials, the warehouse wiring was in terrible condition. There was no smoke. There was no alarm system or sprinkler system. But hangar number 12 didn't just store that. It also hid another dangerous chemical shipment of 750 tons of ammonium nitrate that had been stored there in plastic bags for the past 7 years without any proper safety measures. This chemical is often used as fertilizer in agriculture or as an explosive in the mining industry. It has also been used in several terror attacks. The protesters had just one question: why was so much ammonium nitrate kept there? The warehouse was located near where thousands of people lived. So who's really to blame for this disaster? It all started back in 2013 when a Russian ship was sailing from Georgia to Mozambique. The merchant vessel named La Rosa had already been at sea for over a month and, due to technical issues, had to dock in Beirut. The ship was carrying 750 tons of ammonium nitrate, which was offloaded at Beirut port. But the ship never left Beirut after that. The captain said the ship's owners were struggling financially at the time and thought that in Lebanon, some more cargo was supposed to be loaded and sent to Mozambique, but because of the cargo they booked from Lebanon, the load increased a lot and the ship's crew refused to carry it. The ship owner not only stopped paying the crew's salaries, but also didn't cover the port charges. In Beirut, the authorities kept the ship's crew locked on the ship for the next 11 months because they didn't have visas to enter Lebanon. Finally, in 2014, the crew was released, but due to unpaid dock fees and duties, the ship was seized. The explosive cargo was... The authorities seized it and transferred it to hangar number 12, where it stayed until the horrific accident in 2020. Over these 6 years, while this dangerous chemical was carelessly stored in hangar 12, the port authorities repeatedly sent warning emails to government officials. But the Lebanese government didn't pay any attention. The first email was sent back in 2014 by the former customs director to a judge, urgently flagging how risky it was to keep such a highly dangerous chemical at the port. But he never got a response. According to an Al Jazeera report, one of these emails demanded the Marine Agency to immediately export the cargo back because the climate conditions inside the hangar were not suitable for this chemical. In fact, another letter even suggested that the government should get rid of the chemical by selling it to a Lebanese explosives company. The government received the last email in 2019 warning about the dangers of this chemical. But even then, the government ignored the port authorities' warnings when it came to the wall of hangar number 12. The security risk increased after the breach. It's believed that sparks during the repair of this breach caused a fire, which then led to these explosions. In 2025, it will be 5 years since the blast. But the real culprits haven't been punished. In fact, their trials haven't even been properly conducted. Due to political issues, ministers' legal immunity, and conflicts within the judiciary, the investigation has been repeatedly stalled. When Judge Fadi Sawan charged high-profile ministers, he was removed. Then Judge Tariq Bitar took over the case. When the case was reopened, groups like Hezbollah and Amal opposed it and filed a stay order in court. From 2022 to 2024, the investigation was completely stalled. In January 2025, after Nawaf Salam became prime minister and the Israel-Hezbollah conflict escalated, the case was reopened. In May 2025, a report came out saying that Judge Tariq Bayer is set to issue his final verdict on August 4, 2025, which will mark the 5th anniversary of the blast. Even after 4 years, the devastating and unbelievable tragedy still leaves its marks all over Beirut. At the blast site, there's an 8-foot tall statue made from broken glass, twisted rods, and debris from destroyed houses. The statue is shaped like a woman holding a sword, standing in memory of the 218 people who lost their lives that day. Underneath the statue's feet lies a clock that still shows 6:8 frozen at the exact moment of the explosion and hasn't moved since. We hope you all like and share this video from Lofarwa TV. Thank you so much for your love and comments. See you in the next amazing video.